In this video, you will add a dynamic dashboard sidebar here, which will display your name if you're on the /dashboard. And when we click server here, we have some modules here. It's like Discord, very similar to the Discord sidebar. That was the aim. So when we click this, it toggles, which is good for mobile users. If we look on mobile and we click this, it toggles like that. Let's get into it. Okay, let's continue where we left off. So we have our sidebar here. If we look at this image, what is going on there? The image is not quite aligned properly, so I'm just going to move this down. The sidebar.css is the main focus of this video. We'll be adding a lot of lines to it. So we remove margin here. So we're just going to use tabbing instead of inline elements here. I think that's better. So we need to add, I'm going to add margin here. So margin Y. Not in the invite, we don't care about that. We care about the icon here. We want to add margin here. And let's see what that looks like. Oh, there we go. So that's good enough for now. Okay, so let's see what our sidebar here looks like on mobile. So what we can do is we can press Ctrl-Shift-M. Okay, there we go. So if we look on mobile, this is what it looks like. We click on a guild, boom, cool. What is going on? So we're getting, you are being rate limited. I'm just going to show you it because I need to plan how I'm going to fix this one and show you what we could do in a future video. So if we go into middleware, so what is causing this? So if we get rid of everything here, let me show you. If we get rid of that, or we just get rid of this, sorry. We can only get the guilds with a particular delay, I guess. Okay, that's fine now. But now we refresh. It might be that the guilds, we're getting the user on its own is fine, but we're getting the user and the guild at the same time. So when we refresh, there's more delay. Every now and then it's just giving us this error. So I think in finally we could type res.locals.guilds equals that. That's a temporary fix. Fix me, temporary fix. We can set guilds, or if that's null, we can set it to that. So you see we have the sidebar here. That's all. That's good and all. But we want this part here where we can, when we're on a server, we can click on tabs and it will show us what we're doing, and we can edit the guilds. So we're just going to have instant routing. We're going to load it on one page and have tabs. Okay, so how do we do that? What are we going to do about that? So we're going to in show. So this is the dashboard page. Sidebar. I'm going to separate this. I'm going to add a class called Sidebar Extension. So Sidebar Extension is going to have a background light, so we know what we're looking at. It's basically going to be the same background here, so it's going to blend in. Now what? It's going to have a header with text center, and it's going to have padding top 4. It's going to have a large icon class, BG white, and it's going to be round. Basically copying this. We're going to have a round image, and we're going to have that the source being user avatar. Now we're using in this case we're using discord.js guilds, and we're using disco oauth. Users are one user, so make sure you keep it in mind. The methods are different. So 128, that will do, and we're going to have the alt user.username. Let's see what that looks like first. Boom. We're in dashboard now. Okay. Show.pug. It appears we're in the wrong file, but we're going to keep this there. because in show.pug we're also going to add this. So in index.pug, what we can do, this is the wrong index, it's confusing me. So in here, separate this. It's okay, the white space is okay. It gets minified anyway. Okay, so we add that in. Now, if we refresh, now that is very strange and undesired. So we're going to use CSS. We're going to use a lot of CSS, but we're also going to have a h4 with padding top 2, and we're just going to display the username. Now, it says adamjr, or whatever you want to call my username. What now? We're going to add I want to display the discriminator, which is the tag. So, I can type username like that. And now I'm going to have an inline, in this case. It's going to have we're going to have a span text muted. This is not part of the plan. I'm going to do it anyway. And then we're going to have a hashtag, which is just not one of these. It's just an actual hashtag. Or we could just have it in a string. This is for the tag, by the way. And then we have user.discriminator. ToString, because that's a number. That's 1. 0001 becomes 1. And then we have pad start. Max length is 4. And then we replace the extra space with zeros. Look at that. We get that, but we don't want the space. Let's see if not making it inline fixes that. There we go. It removes the space. That looks cool. 2 colors. So pad start must be done on a string. Let's see what that does in here. So pad start, it's just an overview. So max length 4, replace with a string. So 1, 2, 3, 0. You can have like loads of numbers there. It's a pretty cool method. There we go. I use it a lot. Cool, so we've done the pug part of the index, I guess. Now, similarly, in sidebar.css, let's fix the styles here. What are we going to do? We're going to add an icon so we can open and close this. So it's going to be .hamburger, that's what they're called. For some reason they call them hamburger icons. And then we're going to have FAS, FA bars. And when we click this, we want it to toggle this menu here. Sidebar.js. We're going to select .hamburger. So, on click, what do we do? So, we're going to hide the sidebar extension. That's what we're going to do. Or we can do toggle class closed. Cool. So now in index and show, not this index, the other one. We're going to import that. Like that. Script defer. Cool. So when we click this, it theoretically should hide it, but it doesn't because we haven't added what we need to add. We need to change things so we can actually access this element. I'm not sure if it's doing it properly. So it's adding closed, but we haven't added classes or animations yet, so it is working. So we add hamburger, cursor pointer. So when we hover over it, it has a special cursor, XXL large, XXX large, bottom 0, position absolute, and this will just add it right to the bottom here. There we go. Okay, so underneath sidebar, we're going to add sidebar there, and then extension. I'm going to select both, that's the comma selector, selects both elements, and then we're just going to copy or cut that height into here. Float left, so they both float left. There we go. Oh! Now it's on the right, it's at the right place, that's cool. So now what? Now we add extension as a comment. Now we're gonna add sidebar extension. These are gonna be sidebar extension styles here. Width 275 pixels. Transition 3.3 seconds. There we go. Opacity. So we're going to have kind of an opacity transition. We don't have to have that, but we're going to have it anyway. So sidebar extension and large icon, we select that. That is the icon here. So display block. Margin now. We type margin. Hold on. Margin auto, which means automatic. Margin 0 auto or inherit auto, which is take whatever margin style it was instead of overwriting it. And then width 50%, this will center it. It should do in theory. Let's see. Okay, margin left. I think it's margin left. Let's try that. I believe this is the same. So margin left and right. Let's see if that works. Oh, that centers it. There we go. Okay. So now sidebar extension. Large icon. And we're also going to select the image that's kind of within the icon. There we go. Font size is going to be extra large in case it's an abbreviation. It's going to be XX large. And then it's going to be 90 pixels by 90 pixels, the image height. Yep. So it makes it smaller, so than it was. Sidebar extension. And then we're gonna add abbreviation styles here. My spelling is very interesting. My dog likes sidebars for some reason. But there we go. So 25 pixels. Boom. Very cool. What did I just do there? So, it's hard to notice because we're not using abbreviations at the minute. But let's test here. Let's start to add our show styles here. If guild.icon, we're going to have an image round with the guild icon. So this is discord.js guild icon URL. Size, dynamic true, size 128, guild.name. Now, else, abra guild.name acronym. So this is going to be the abbreviation. So we want to see the guild abbreviation first. Let's see that. There we go, that's what it looks like. That's why we have a padding to remove that. Oh, now it gets pushed up. There we go. In show, we don't care about the username. So instead of the username, we display the guild name. So h4, padding top 2, guild.name. There we go. That's pretty much most of it. 4PG test server, that's cool. That's what we're using. We've nearly done sidebar styles, but when we click this, what happens? Nothing. We want it to toggle. So something does happen. A class is added, which is closed. So we have the width 0 when it's closed. Padding 0. PX 0. So what happens now? So it removes all the padding. And it just hides it. Oh! But that's there. We don't want that. So. Also, sidebar. What toggle does is if it has the class, it removes it. If it doesn't have the class, it adds it. So what toggle does? Toggle class. So opacity 0. That hides what's in here when it's closed. Oh. Pretty cool. You could tweak the transition there. So oh. Do a bit quicker than that. That's up to you. There we go. Maybe we can tweak this on the last video. Okay, so what now? We've added pretty much the main sidebar. So if we go onto here, 4PG test server. Okay, we want to add categories. We want to make it look like Discord itself. Okay, underneath this h4 we're going to add tabs, navbar nav, so that we get special anchor styling, anchor text styling. It's what we use for navbar, by the way. If we look at that, we're using a navbar nav somewhere here. If we remove that, it just has basic default styling. I'm going to call it modules or something. So we're going to make a category here called tabs. So tabs A. So we're going to add some, for the main tags here, we're going to add that. The tabs. I'm getting confused. We're actually going to show the tabs here first, so we know what we're doing. And show, what we do is, we add ahref. We're just going to use this for now, although it's not actually a href. We're going to use an ID for it. We're probably going to use an onClick event when we're using tabs to hide and show the tabs, a bit like commands really. But there we go. So auto mod, we're going to have these categories, for I believe. I think that was for economy and music. Oh, what do we get? Basic, generic, boring attempts at tabs, because they're just generic styles, but they're stacked underneath each other, which we like. Also, if it has, I think, navlink, that gives it a special, kind of a special effect in a way. .navlink is what we're using for navbar, but we're not going to use that. Instead, we're going to go into sidebar.css. We're going to add 2 pixels margin, 10 pixels, so top and bottom 2, left, right 10, padding 5 pixels. There we go. Padding left 10 pixels, and we're going to overwrite that. 5 pixels. What did I do with this? Border radius 5 pixels. That's cool. So border radius, I'm not sure why I did, oh yeah, that's for the hover effect, which we'll get onto in a minute. The hover background. So tabs A hover it changes the background color so it stands out. So background color white. Background color white. So, as you can see, it's kind of grey, but when we hover over it, it's a bit rounded here. We're going to add icons to that soon. So, tabs, dot category. So, the category, we're going to style that. Padding, this is 24 pixels, 0, 4 pixels, 24 pixels. Up, right, down, left. Font size, 12 pixels. Text transform uppercase, we're going to make the text uppercase. Font weight, that makes it bold. We're going to use 700. How bold it is. Color, grey. And then cursor pointer. We could make it that a utility class, but we're not going to. So when I hover over this in Discord, it usually flashes a bit. I think we can add a bit of a transition there. So where it says category, transition, we can have color. I think that's a valid name for a transition property. So color, probably gonna have 3.3 seconds. Ease in out. There we go. So ease is in and out. If we look here, if we hover over the category and look at this graph, you can see what it really means to ease in and out for the element. You can make custom easing in and out, custom animation curves, I believe they're called. Haven't used them yet though. Cool. So we've nearly done that. What now? So we add tabs, category, category, dot category, hover, and then we add color black. We're just gonna make it black when we hover over it. So it transitions. We are missing one thing here. We have blue anchor tags. We don't want blue anchor tags because they're default and they don't look like they were. They don't look cool in this case. They don't blend in. So we're going to use text decoration none, color black. That's all we need to write. There we go. Huh. Now it looks very cool. Look at that. Obviously it's not going to do anything at the minute. We'll get onto that in the next video. But when we click this, boom. We're just going to add some icons here. Are we going to do it inline? I think we are today. So yeah, inline, that will do. So we're going to have auto mod. We're going to have FA gavel. Just like a hammer. We're going to have FA coins. FA staff general. And FA music, I think that's a thing. There we go. And that just aligns nicely. Very cool. So, PR2. We're gonna add padding right 2. Refresh. No, padding right 1, that will do. Yeah. So now, we want these to be different color. Let's see what it looks like with... So what I'm doing is I'm pressing Control, holding Control, Alt. No, I'm holding Alt, and I'm clicking with the cursor. I type text muted. Refresh. So now these icons are a different color, but we're going to keep it that way. It has more depth, I guess. There we go. We have our icons. So in the next video we'll add session managing, which will speed everything up and allow the dashboard to be much faster and get rid of the rate limiting bug. So see you there.